this year fell seriously ill with corona, but he recovered. But he taught us all a lesson in faith, optimism, and hope. May the torch rise. I, Shlomi Shabbat, the son of Avraham and Nechama Shabbat, of blessed memory, am kindling this torch in honor of my parents who immigrated from Turkey and all the others who made Aliyah from all the lands of the Jewish diaspora, bringing with them the tunes and sounds and styles with which we create our wonderful music, in honor of my dear close family and my extended one, that of the music in Israel. For those here and behind the scenes, we cared for each other, we strengthened each other, and I promise you that all those and the God alongside us will still prevail. I, you, and the God who is at our sides will yet prevail, not due to power, but due to the tailwind at our backs. ולתפארת מדינת ישראל. A.B. Moses.
170 שנה.
For 170 years, Israeli society has been grappling with the threat of nationalistic terror and the horrific price in blood that it is part of it. A.B. Moses lost his pregnant wife, OFRI, who was 34, and his 5-year-old son, Tal, at a terror attack 34 years ago. A.B. and his 2 remaining children, Adi and Nir, were severely wounded. From the dire, deep abyss of mourning and pain, A.B. and his close friends established the Organization of Victims of Hostility in order to meet the emotional and physical needs of those who were hurt and commemorate the memory of those who were but are no longer with us. Till this very day, he serves voluntarily at the helm of this organization and has jointly initiated many ventures, inter alia the foundation of a commemoration hall for the victims. A.B. and his friends are symbols of the immense emotional energy of the casualties, who rose from the destruction of their lives to build an organization that symbolizes the giving and Israeli fraternity. May the torch rise. I, A.B., the son of Victoria and Yosef Moses of blessed memory, the husband of OFRI and father to Tal, may God avenge their blood. Light this torch in honor of the bereaved families and the wounded from terror attacks and hostilities, on their homes and in their and on the roads, on buses and in the markets, those whose lives in one fell swoop were totally destroyed. And since then, every morning anew they heroically get up and choose life. In honor of the wondrous Israel unity that connects us all, that gives us strength and embraces us at the most unbearable of moments, we must safeguard that unity. In honor of my 2 children and 4 grandchildren, the Moses family's victory, and to the glory of the State of Israel.
Narges Abu Yaman ומאהר IBRAHIM. האחים והאחיות בבתי
The male and female nurses in the hospitals, in the HMOs and public health services accompanied the anxious public throughout the year and the corona patients during their worst times. Narges Abu Yaman is a regional nurse supervisor at the Public Health Bureau in Acre for over 30 years. She has been accompanying the children and parents of the Galilee, in addition to her tough job as a supervisor. Narges took upon herself to lead the epidemiological investigative network in Israel. MAHER IBRAHIM is the head nurse in the internal medicine department at the Ha'emek Medical Center in Aful that was converted this year to a corona patients ward 2 months ago. MAHER, a Muslim Arab, deeply touched the entire country when he accompanied a Jewish patient on his deathbed by saying Shema Israel as the patient took his last breath. Narges and MAHER are a symbol of the sister and brotherhood, the fellowship between the various ethnic communities. May the torch rise. I, Narges Abu Yaman, daughter of Faiz and Jamila Fares, and I, MAHER IBRAHIM, son of Taisir of blessed memory, and Haria, may she live a long life, kindle this torch in honor of those who dedicated their lives to the nursing profession. To all the health nurses in the community and in the hospitals, the warm hearts that support and assist the Israeli health system, the patients day and night, especially during this year, in their uncompromising fight against corona. Chapeau to all of you. In honor of all the ethnic communities and traditions that compile Israel's society, for they are the roots that make us grow, the light and the warmth in our hearts, and the spirit that propels us forward. In honor of the Druze community, my parents and family who believed, and all the other families who believed that we could prevail in the war against corona, who provided us with support, encouragement, and rallied to help us when we were devoting ourselves to our patients. In honor of my family, my children, and our world and all the children, in honor of our duty to do all we possibly can, but everything, in order to build a future for them of peace, dignity, and fraternity. Salam. And to the glory of the State of Israel. Superintendent Eden Hevtenesh Tapet. She joined the operation unit of the border police 21 years ago and then moved over into the police. She has been serving in a variety of roles for 21 years. She's the head of the division of members of the police force of Ethiopian extract. She joined vaccination encouragement amongst the Ethiopian immigrant community, accompanying youngsters from her community, ensuring that baskets of food would be provided, and some of them she even funded privately. Eden, who made Aliyah by herself at the age of 9, represents the spirit of the Israeli police and border police who were on the front line, helping, supporting, aiding and directing in their attempt to eradicate coronavirus. Policemen and women, volunteers, burning the midnight oil, safeguarding the security of all. May the torch rise. rise. I have Tanesh Eden, the daughter of Almerito and Vasya, am lighting this torch in honor of the male and female police officers and the volunteers of the Israel Police Force and the Border Police. That during such a complex year, faced by an unfamiliar threat, toiled, dedicating their entire selves through a real sense of a vocation, being an ambassador for the sake of the citizens, in honor of my parents and their parents, who instilled in us the dream to go back to Jerusalem. It is thanks to that dream that I am standing here today. In honor of the little girl in Ethiopia, who never imagined that she would one day stand here on the stage in an Israel police uniform and say the following words: "To the glory of the state of Israel." Tzipi Harpenes. The education, the people from the field of education in Israel found themselves grappling this year with an unprecedented challenge. In the shadow of the COVID pandemic, they changed their human encounters to from physical to teaching, distance teaching. But at the same time, one of her pupils was undergoing a very complicated kidney transplant process. And so, alongside her work, she decided to accompany this student, the son of a single mother, and alongside the various teams in the school and the staff, she has continued accompanying him, sitting at his side in the hospital. Tzipi Harpenes is the representative of thousands of educators, women and men, who in their determined, loving manner beat Corona together with our children. May the torch rise. I, Tzipi Harpenes, the daughter of Nechama Tova and Rabbi Simcha Fruchter, from amongst the founders of Beersheba, light this torch in honor of my beloved city, Beersheba, a town of roots and vision. In honor of the Meet Network, which I grew up in, and the state, religious, and the entire educational system, which create the resilience and future of this state. In honor of all the school principals who are leading with confidence, the teachers and all the faculty who have taught all of us that to education you come with love. In honor of the parents, our partners on this journey, that has the power to transform every difficulty into a strength, every crisis into an opportunity. In honor of my pupils, my children, our children, the future and the hope. I love you. I am proud of you. I learn so much from you, and thanks to you and to the glory of the State of Israel. Rabbi Eitan Schnurb. 20 years ago, Rabbi Eitan and his wife Shira Schnurb came as a young couple to the town of Lod in the framework of their service as part of a religious nucleus. And they created an organization for Lodz residents. But that summer, a terrorist cell attacked Rabbi Eitan and his children, Dvir, Chaim, and Rina. Both Rabbi and their son Dvir were severely wounded. Rina, their 16-year-old daughter, was killed outright. While still hospitalized in the ICU unit, Rabbi Eitan Schnurb spoke to the media at the time of his daughter's funeral, asking to embrace and strengthen the people of Israel because of the outpouring of love. And from the depth of their mourning and in memory of Rina, he expanded their charity organization into a national voluntary venture named Kol Rina, Rina's Voice, an enterprise whose aim is to do good for the sake of Israel's society, second-hand stores, food for all needy, developing technical solutions to create quality family time. They have also rehabilitated natural springs, beautiful pastoral nooks and crannies around Israel, making them accessible to all. May the torch rise. I, Eitan Schnurb, the son of Abraham of blessed memory, and Hannah, may she live a long, good life. Rina's father, may her blood be avenged, and the father of another 11 sweet children. I'm lighting this torch in honor of my neighbors, the beloved residents of Lod, and all the wondrous volunteers all over Israel who give so much of themselves for the sake of others and receive so much from the actual giving, no less than from what they are giving. In honor of all those who choose, stemming from difficulties, to add light to this world, and know full well that we all need something, and that we all have something to give. In honor of this wonderful life that has been bestowed upon us, and the endless opportunity that gives us to do good. In honor of those studying Torah, and in honor of the Almighty God, who gave and He took, and everything be blessed in His honor. In honor of our Rina, and to the glory of the state of Israel. Gabriela Strigler Liu, the representative of the Jewish diaspora. She is only 20, but she's already joined an advanced rescue course of the Home Quran for young Jewish people and participated in over 10 humanitarian delegations around Mexico and in the aid delegation to those injured in the hurricane in Honduras. Over the last year, Gabriela has worked with her friends with the elderly population Holocaust survivors in her community, providing support and chaperoning a youth group. It's called the Shalom Corps, a special world movement. Thousands of Jewish youth form from around the world, mobilizing to do voluntary work, adding light and good to this entire world. May the torch rise. I, Gabriela, the daughter of Samantha and Oscar, are kindling this torch in honor of the Jewish people all around the world, who so many of their sons and daughters wish to carry out a tikkun olam and are turning this world into a better place. In honor of my friends, Jews from around the world who love Eretz Israel and are bonded to it full-heartedly. in honor of my grandparents, who have always been there for us. And this year, we were able to be there for them. Zaida, Tita, Sammy, and Nancy. She's saying it in Spanish. And to the glory of the State of Israel. Adi GUZI and Shira Isakov. On New Year's Eve, in one short moment, the destinies of two women neighbors were interwoven. The first, Shira Isakov, had expressed her wish to leave a violent relationship. Her husband, in response, attempted to murder her. The other woman, Adi GUZI, overheard the happenings in the house next door, the screams, and courageously broke into the house, endangering herself in order to lend a hand, in order to help a neighbor who she didn't even know, and saved her life. Together, they decided to turn darkness into life, to pay the price of public exposure in order to arouse and strengthen awareness about domestic violence and against women in Israel. This appalling incident suffered by them has become a symbol for the fellowship between women, the sisterhood and deep emotional strength direly needed by both the victims who wish to extricate themselves from the cycle of violence, but also by those who wish to break through into this cycle before it is too late. Adi and Shira are an inspiration to all Israel as a whole in the exertion of a national effort to stop violence against women. May the torch rise. I, Adi GUZI, the daughter of Ofra Vanunu and Shlomo Ben Arush, and I, Shira, the daughter of Osnat and Gadi Isakov, are kindling this torch. In your honor, Adi, in honor of the mutual sense of shared responsibility, and in honor of so many who are so good, who dedicate their lives to fight against violence in general and against women in particular. In your honor, Shira, in honor of those women who rise from hell and openly with courage and beauty, remind us how much we still have to rectify. In honor of the memory of those women who were not sufficiently fortunate to have their cry heard. In honor of all those women who right now at this moment may be in dire need of strength, hope and love, and the courage to go out. It is frightening, but it is possible, and it is so worthwhile, and to the glory of the State of Israel. Internal Medicine Ward D at the Sharon Hospital in Petach Tikva was one of the first in Israel to become a corona ward. Dr. Dror Dicker, the head of the department, rallied, taking upon himself and his team the role of spearheading the medical fight against this unknown new virus. With its spread, Yudit, his mother, also passed away. It was due to her inspiration Dror had chosen to study medicine. So despite his sorrow and personal mourning, Dr. Dicker did not leave the hospital and spent the Shiva, the 7 days of mourning, in the ward itself, never halting his fight. Dr. Dror Dicker represents the pure devotion and courage of spirit of all the medical teams and first responders and first aid workers in Israel. May the torch rise. I, Dr. Dror Dicker, son to Yehudit and Shimshon of blessed memory, am lighting this torch in honor of my colleagues, the physicians, the heads of departments and medical teams who said that the patient's health is more important than their own, and with devotion and endless commitment stood on the front line of the battle against the corona pandemic. And in honor of those who are recovering from it, from all walks of life in Israel society, for all those who supported each other so warmly during the dire days, in honor of the future generation of internal and community medicine, who, when called to the flag, rose to the occasion, rallying to carry out every mission, whether it was a great mission or a small one, marching ahead of all, in honor of the people of Israel who believe in us, in the health system, and show us your endless support and love, and to the glory of the State of Israel. Maor Cohen. Over the last years, the IDF have been exerting significant efforts to integrate people with special needs. This unique and important process has been headed by Major Maor Cohen, the director of the Nuke Service Department in the Meitav unit of the HR Directorate. Beyond the long hours that his role demands, he volunteers at the Ezel Mitzion Beit Oranit NGO. He has been accompanying for over a decade children suffering from cancer, hospitalized in the oncology wards, by playing with them, building dreams. He is called the Lego Man by all of them. His voluntary work is a true expression and embodiment of Israeli fraternity and the bond between the IDF, the People's Army, and all parts of Israel's society. May the torch rise. I, Major Maor Cohen, the son of Yaakov of blessed memory, and Fanny, may she be blessed with a long and good life, who made Aliyah immigrating from Morocco to make the Zionist dream come true, do light this torch in honor of the IDF soldiers and all my commandants in arms, who safeguard and protect the State of Israel and its security in the air, at sea, and on the ground, in honor of all those who are guarding our borders, with the spirit of voluntarism that is beating in their hearts, in honor of the young men and women who do not let any hurdle impede or halt them, and volunteer proudly to serve meaningfully in the army, in honor of the Ezel Mitzion organization that I volunteer for, and the family members, and above all, my friends, the true heroes who are struggling with cancer. And I wish that I will help you join the army when you all recover, and to the glory of the State of Israel. OFRI BUTBUL. OFRI BUTBUL, a 12th grade student from Ofakim, a volunteer at the youth movement called Sachi, a unique kindness patrol, an organization that recruits youth from all over Israel to help the disadvantaged in their neighborhoods, turning them into ambassadors of kindness. As part of her, my wife Irit had the honor of heading of blessed memory. She passed away, and she was the head of this organization. OFRI and her friends accompanied an elderly, lonely man in their neighborhood. But when one of the days he didn't answer their calls, they all rushed over and discovered that he had collapsed in a state of exhaustion. With immense resourcefulness They saved his life. OFRI is representing here the Israeli youth who volunteers, initiates, and feels accountable, the future generation of this country. May the torch rise. I, OFRI, the daughter of Aviva and Shimon BUTBUL, am kindling this torch in honor of the wonderful youth of Israel. My dear close friends in the Sachi movement from all over Israel. In honor of Israel's and society's huge, amazing story, and our privilege to be part of it. In honor of the spirit of giving that awards meaning and hope to everyone, from whichever background they stem from and at all ages. And in honor of that humble deed that can change lives. In Sachi we say the greatest thing in the world is to do good for others and to the glory of the state of Israel. Mori YAISH GIAT. Jewish wisdom was passed down through the generations from father to son, mother to daughter. Mori YAISH GIAT is 102 years old. One of the founders of the town of Ashkelon. He connects the younger generation in his town to the tradition of his ancestors, the tradition of Torah, prayer, and hard work, the healthy mind and a healthy body, values and morals. He preserved the old traditional medical methods brought with the Jews from Yemen, following in Maimonides' medical theories. He writes and donates Torah scrolls and books to younger congregations all over Israel, and people envision him as a wise man who many come to ask for counsel. He is a living symbol in the Jewish chain of generations, linking the previous generations to those that are yet to come, and a symbol of the pioneering spirit of Yemenite Jewry, who are harbingers of a return to Zion. May the torch rise. I, YAISH, the son of Shammah and Rabbi Israel GIAT of blessed memory, am lighting this torch in honor of the Jews who made Aliyah because of Zionism, due to their belief in the Almighty and the precept of settling this holy land. In honor of my brethren, my brothers and my sisters, the glorious Yemenite Jewry that was privileged to build this holy land in humility and modesty. In honor of the unity between all hues and parts of our people. There are no religious or secular ones. We are all Jews. The Almighty will give me wisdom, knowledge, and learning, and He will receive my prayers for the healing of all the people of Israel. The Lord's unfailing love surround the ones who trust in Him, and to the glory of the state of Israel. "12 torches for the glory of the state of Israel." In their honor, in our honor, in honor of everything that we have accomplished and all that we still will. Come, let us celebrate.
תודה למסיעי.
Thank you to all those who lit the torches.